Hello there everyone, this is Iron Mark III and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Project second launch. Nary a herb or vacuum cleaner in sight today, not at all. Ah, that's cool. The railguns have stopped firing because the gas giant's in the way. Makes sense, but it's nice to see that they do actually take that into account. I wasn't entirely sure. But yes, welcome back. I figured today I'd start off with the orbital view of what I'm hoping to thoroughly disorganize today, which is the existing factory setup as we know it. Because I asked last time if I should include this effort in this particular episode, and, well, generally that was in favour, so, you know, here we go. I don't know if this will take up the whole episode or not, but we are going to see this being underdone on camera, so to speak, ignoring jump cuts, time skips, yada yada, you know, that kind of stuff. But we're going to dismantle the vast majority of this today. At least that's my plan. Like the smelting assembly over here, the component assembly, the chemical plants are going to get moved, the processing section over here, the deuterium array. I've not decided yet where I'm going to put the research centre, but it will not be the most effective thing to have it where it is now. If I'm relocating everything towards the southern hemisphere of this particular planet, and you can see I've already got a whole bunch of stuff laid out, as I think I showed last time. I showed it in passing last time, but yeah, there's patterns on where things are going to be put. And as you can see, I've even started laying some stuff out. The belts are starting to go into place, along with some of these access from the starports bringing in raw material. Oh, slight note on the starports bringing in raw material. This may be okay for like a smaller setup like this, but I think for if I ever build like bigger planetary arrays, like, you know, some people look at the size of my factory and go, "Ha! You call that a factory? I call that a workshop in the garden." Yes. Now this is a factory, and then just shows this massive metal world covered in factories. Now, all of this stuff here that I've laid out is based on the premise of one belt being the absolute limit of throughput, either be it on an intake or an output. So I don't think I mentioned that one last time. That is the premise of how I've laid out the resource refineries, the refining assemblance, you know. Words stumble me good, yes. The resource refining and stuff like that is all laid out basically on that premise. The chemicals I'm counting as factories, so they are open-ended, they can be extended. The refineries all have this solid outline around them, because that's roughly where I tend to lay them out. And as you can see where I've laid the belts over here, what that's going to happen and look like. Part of me wishes I had located this actually on the central belt of the planet, because there's this slight little angling thing going on, because it transitions a line between two sets of grids right on the very tip of it, but that's livable, it's not too bad, and we should be able to do with that. Then again, the assemblers in here, all open-ended, because if output isn't enough, we might need to extend it. And unfortunately, the world decided to put an oil spot just in the middle of that. I'm tempted to pave over it, but the thing is, oil is actually an infinite resource, even if it depletes and hits a minimum level eventually. So it's arguably one that I want to actually keep, but it's one I will find elsewhere, so I can pave them over if I am so inclined. Anyway, let's get started. That's been 5 minutes rambling, telling you what I'm going to try and do. Also, yeah, as a note of this, as I said, big factories. These things I have a limit of 10 per interstellar port, so 10 pulling might not be enough. So if you're having bigger setups, then having them being supplied by ships from the actual mining planets would probably be a good idea as well. But yeah, just figured I'd mention that one. Let's just slap down a temporary storage here, because things are going to get messy. Yes, things are already getting messy, so I'm just going to slap that down. Ta-da! And I say it might get messy because I'm planning to bleed the belts. So that's going to be my first step here. Come on, land. Thank you. First thing first, if I'm going to do anything, I want to start bleeding the belts and stop things from actually happening. So I'm going to have to sever the resource lines, and that's going to dump a whole load of stuff into my inventory as well. So that can't be helped either. Also, since I've done that, I'm going to actually raise the cap on these just so that the refineries start emptying as well. So that won't actually cause a massive surge of resources when I get to it. So soon this area will be a lot emptier than it was before. But I do plan to store more of this stuff anyway, so... Just make sure, yeah, make sure to sever that one. Well, starting to see signs of what is to come. I was trying to leave the stone running, I admit, but that's because I was relying on a supply of gas, gaseous glass. Yes, that'll be an interesting invention when it comes along, won't it? Glass and electronics and things to keep my Dyson swarm being produced and maintained. But there's still some need for the materials, so it's slowly filtering out. But unfortunately, with the supporting materials being stopped, I couldn't keep that going. So yeah, it had to be done. Also, I installed more inserts just to pull things out faster. It's not such an issue with the assemblers, but the furnaces do keep a lot of finished product ready in comparison to assemblers, which only keep like maybe 10 or 20 each. So you can see the difference, like lots and lots of iron and stuff versus like an extra handful of stacks usually of these materials. So, you know, things to keep in mind. But yes, I've bled some of the belts, I opened the taps on all of that, and I put a stop to all incoming resources. So things are somewhat depleted. I mean, look, I even cut off the water supply. Oh no, the water. Now, one issue, of course, is going to be this, which is the fact that there is an absolute butt ton of resources tied up within the oil refinery array, and especially the storage tanks. That's going to be interesting to try and drain. So either I give up on the resources and delete them, which is entirely doable, especially since they are coming from crude oil, which is by itself a infinite resource. Ooh, actually, I should sever that as well, so we're not getting an input going into the refineries anymore. But that's going to be fun as well. So anyway, let's go ahead and get back to what we were doing, which is draining these belts and things of materials to stash them in basically the outputs for the main assembly array. Because basically we've produced everything we're going to be able to produce with what was stored on the belts, and all this is basically tied up now. So let's start. I'm going to leave this alone because I'm not installing building assembly just yet. Right now my array is focused entirely on producing refined resources, etc, etc. The safe way to delete this would probably be if I click on that and then click and hold and go, "Whee, look at that." It's just like emptying the belt as fast as it'll go at 60 per second. But using shift click and deleting that way is probably going to be my best bet to do this, especially since graphene is still needed for some of my projects. Let's cut that as well. So there we go. So I don't know if deleting stuff when your inventory is full with a shift click will, if it'll refuse to because you don't have storage space, or if it'll just like dump a bunch of materials on the ground, which is unknown. But yeah, 307, 16. Let's just this. Oh, interesting. There's a Mark II belt there, apparently. But yeah, we're starting the actual dismantlement process now, which will make this entire area a lot less cluttered, I must admit. But it's also a shame you can't just shift click and do that to a lot of stuff. I mean, sure, if you scrap something like that, it'll pick up the sources next to it. But I can't just click and drag across that. I'm holding my mouse, but it's not letting me. I have to click on each individual building like that. And I can't shift and drag like that either. So this is one of the slower parts of it. There's no delete a load of stuff at once button. Apart from shift click on conveyors, which is, I admit, still very useful. Look at that, another 58 conveyors straight away. If only they manufactured that fast. Already nature is being returned. Note to self, look for a mod that lets you plant trees. And makes the terrain less even. I don't know if such things exist because most people don't tend to look for it, but like being able to restore nature to a planet might be something to look for in this game. Just to beautify the place a bit, you know? At least that'd be a feature I tend to look for, and 99% of the time I find is not there. Developers, if you ever see this, think about that. The ability to make a garden... Well, technically it is a garden, it's my own little play space. To make a planet pretty again. Well, prettier. In a non-mechanical, industrial kind of way. Ah, you know what I mean. Oh, good. It does refuse to do that on the storage at the very least, if there's not enough space. I'm almost full. What if I do... Still don't know if there's anything conclusive about the belts, though. There probably is, since they've done it for the storage. Well, that's disappointing. Okay, so when I deleted that sorter, it dumps it on the ground. So if I delete this... Yep, confirmed, belts do not give you the warning that it just like dumps it all over. That is... Oh well. Oh, I did delete the storage for copper plate. Let's dump that out. And I'll use these as dumping sites, but as a note, because I don't think I've shown this before, when you actually... You can ditch things out of your mech by itself, but any resource that gets dumped around the place, you get this option to erase all litter, one click and just like whoosh, it's gone. Or I can go around and salvage it like this, and it's just like a little magnet picks up the boxes nearby kind of thing, if you've got inventory space for it. Now the thing is, I've done it all the way over here, as you can see, because I deleted the belt of it, so yeah, trying to make sure this doesn't happen is probably better than wanting to go around and do it. If it's a resource you care about. I think that's the caveat, isn't it? If it's a resource you actually care about. Like it says there's 9 more, 7 more. I don't care about the 7, so I'll just delete it. But yeah, that's what happens if you delete a loaded belt and you don't have the storage space. Good to know about, honestly. Well, that marks the end of... I think that's all the smelters gone now. And look at this place, it's looking a lot more empty already. Even with all those belts and things gone. But this, of course, is the other side, the flip side of the coin, I guess you could say. I mean, it'd be more straightforward if I just like slap it all down into a storage, get it all packed down, then come back and do it. But in the end, I'll need less storage space if I do it like this, which is like I make sure to put things in there. But I wanted to sort this off if I lay down the appropriate opposite number, shall we say. Will I? Like, I'll go ahead and install... Can't fit one there because of how close the belts are, I guess. So let's install it here. It doesn't matter, it's really close by. So one there. One there. Et al. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm starting to just lay in the appropriate things. I already laid in this because I figured, you know, it's just like iron smelting, it doesn't really matter. But let's start using the stuff we've just nicked to lay in more stuff as well. I mean, end of the day, we're actually going to need more furnaces, more at the very least, and more assemblers, because the furnace arrays here are much bigger than the ones I actually built so far. Just because, flat out, I wasn't using that much stuff. This is built to a plan rather than built to needs. And oh, I forgot to lay in sorters on these ones. Whoops. So that is a load, unload. And I'll just copy that to there and there because that requires a slightly bigger array. And of course I'll need to put down Tesla towers and things, but I am salvaging a fair few of those as well. I'll probably still need more though. Yes, fly my minions. Do your thing and lay the industry which I crave. As a side note, we're still running off that original stack of deuterium fuel cells I made and loaded in like only in the initial part of last episode. We're still, what, 17 out of 30, so we're not exactly running through them very quickly at all, are we? Note to self, get those fuel cells processing up as a matter of priority because they are amazing. Ah, yes. I figure this might be a good spot to mention because, well, let's say one of that. This is a bit of an odd smelting spot here compared to all the others because the others are all like, ooh, one input, one output, but this one is, as you can see, laid out slightly differently. And I figured I'd just mention why here, and that's because diamonds, you're not set for, yeah, graphite to diamonds, yep. That's because, as you can see, that this is one of those cases where there's an alternate recipe. Where I can instead get kimberlite ore and directly smelt it into diamond. So my plan is to take it here and put in a priority merger. So if any kimberlite ore gets taken in, then diamonds made from that get put into the storage and then off into any manufacturing before the ones that run off energetic graphite, because that runs on more readily available materials. So, you know, preserve the material that will have other uses versus the material that I can only use for that. Even if it's rare, it's still like, I'll use that before I use something that's more flexible. At least, that's my plan for it anyway. Anyway, let's continue laying all this out. How many furnaces do I even have? Another 73 furnaces. Oh, I don't think that's going to be enough. Let's just hope that my worker drones never unionize. Let's put it that way. Because this would be so much harder without them. Wait a second, that's actually a horrifying thought. Might make for an interesting mod at that. I guess it has to be like that. Yeah, a mod. AI Rebellion mod for Dyson Sphere. Keep your Icarus's construction drones happy or they're going to start going on strike. They demand wages in processor chips, silicone, and sulfuric acid. Well, what else would a robot drink? I mean, alcohol is technically a poison. Oh dear. But still, at least I'm burning through all these belts I've got. Jeez. Though it's going to take a while to lay it all out. I would like to note that, despite resources being cut off for actually a fair while now, some of my orbital launchers are still firing. I had enough research in stock to actually get an extra 3 construction drones, which is going to help out even further. Though I'm going to see if I can get... oh, that requires purple. Boo. Right, well, let's see if I can get drone speed. I doubt I have enough research left in stock to unlock that as well, but it will deplete how much I have to move, which is the whole purpose of running my research right now. And we've got all that laid out, so let's go ahead and... We've got it all laid out, by the way, haven't got it all laid out. Typical that really, isn't it? Ooh, boy. But this should be enough to deplete my initial stock of furnaces as well, so... yeah. getting past the steel smelting into the titanium and silicon smelting. But I doubt I've got enough for... I'm kind of curious, really. That's why I've actually started recording at this point, just to see how far my initial stock of furnaces will actually take me. I mean, you've got to remember, this also includes the furnaces for titanium and silicon smelting that I picked up on the other planet as well. Oh, there it goes. That's as far as my initial stock of furnaces will take me. The ones marking individual rows, and all of this, and now I am officially out of tier 1 smelters. I also feel I should mention, by the way, I built this pattern for tier 1 smelters because tier 2s are, frankly, they are kind of late in the unlocks. I mean, we're all the way down here. We've had tier 2 assemblers already for quite a while. That's down here. But then the tier 2 smelters are all the way back here, locked behind purple tech, and a fair bit of it as well. So I feel like that's a mistake, and if there's going to be smelt upgrades, that should probably come earlier, before factory setups get really, really bedded in. Because quite frankly, you're going to have to rearrange belts if you're going to upgrade these things to level 2 smelters, because the level 2 smelters are just faster, flat out. That said though, my inventory is emptying quite nicely. That's just got to keep it up. So I'm going to have to start producing some stuff as well, so... I can produce one of these. Okay, let's raid my stockpiles and see what else I can produce. Though I also need to lay down belts and things as well. Some of this will come online gradually as the transfer continues. Making a bit of a choice here, I think, regarding how soon I activate a given resource intake. This is just like a patterning thing, but I'm thinking like each time I add a line to this, I will then draw from the resource processing, because I'm not sure how much I actually require. What was it? Silicate? Crystalline silicate, you know? Maybe I don't need it that much. I don't remember needing it for very much, except for maybe accumulators. So I'll leave that for higher into the line as we go, because I'm slightly concerned about how much line space I've actually got. I will say this though, the conveyors are going down pretty quickly. But let's continue. So I've got the first 3 here. This one requires iron ingot and then 2 finished materials, which I'm thinking of doing the same thing as I did with the raw resource belt here, which is like bring them across and then start stacking them in from the other side. And we'll see how that goes, really. It's a bad time to be thinking about space, isn't it? But I wonder if this is enough lines for literally everything that I can produce, because I'm not going to need the entire length for everything. If need be, I can just stack stuff 3 high, I suppose, but part of me thinks that might be slightly admitting defeat. But it's not like there's not enough space next to these things to step things down from a 3 or 4 height down to the level required. It's just not my plan, I guess I could say. Yeah, here is another good example, like semiconductors. Do I need this for anything else? I need it for processors, but I don't think I need it for literally anything else. Not that I'm aware of. Unfortunately, it's not a complete recipe list, so I can't double check, but semiconductors seem to go straight into processors and then that's it. Like, I need full-fledged processors for a bunch of stuff, but not semiconductor material. Unless it throws me a curveball later on. I just don't think I need an output belt for it. It's just an intermediate product for literally nothing else. Yeah, I mean, look, I need processors for Dyson sphere parts, but no, not for... Yeah. I don't need them for ships, do I? That'd be silly if I did that and then just realised, no, don't need it. But no, I don't think I need them anywhere else. Which is a little unusual, yeah, but sure, I'll take it. I'll take it. And you need 2 parts in, and I'll just go ahead and say, you know what? Until I get proven wrong, here you go. That's all you're getting. Oh my god, look at all this! It's all just so barren compared to how it was before. Didn't mean to click that button, there we go. Wow. Also empty. Oh well, I don't mind. It's just like it's such a stark difference when it was populated with all the buildings and stuff, and now it's just like gone, basically. Look at all this. I've left the resource extractors that have still got resource in it, but yeah, it's all going skedaddle, and yeah. Sploosh! Look at all that. Get rid of it. And apparently they've missed a single conveyor belt. That's something of note, by the way. I've been finding random Mark II conveyors knocking around the place. There's some more there. Oops. Oh wow, there's even a Mark I conveyor there. Just ditch that. Pick these guys up so I get another stack of smelters going, and then just go ahead and get rid of the fluids because I just don't want them. I just can't move them. They don't even store very well, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah. Maybe if Icarus had a separate storage tank like on the side here, which could hold a fluid, maybe that would be better than having a stack of 20. But that's just my thought, I don't know. Okay, this is probably going to be the final moment in this video. In fact, almost certainly it is. What I feared has come to pass, which is that this has taken a lot longer than I reasonably thought it would to go into one video. Yeah. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit drowsy. It's a good portion past midnight now for me, and this is the final part for this video because I've literally run out of time to record it. That's why I was doing all of this messing around with the pavements and stuff off camera, because it's like, you know, I tend to record in one go and it's like, yeah. But anyway, those are the connections hooked up. That is now feeding off the planetary resources, which are going to the lines over here. The smelting array is all set up, except for the fact that I've currently set it to not feed, because that was just while I was getting spare resources off the planet. Like, I've just picked up all this, so dump all that in there. Yep. And why am I putting that into a sort? I want to put it into there. There we go. Yeah. Things of note. My mech has been running mostly off hydrogen fuel cells, because to burn some of the spare resources I had lying around, I've been producing them. As you can see, I've also got like a bunch of deuterium rods on me, ready to go as well, which has burned some of my more materials. But yeah, that's all of all of that. So these production lines can start. Off they go. You can start as well. Why aren't you operational yet? Because you can't get a feed from the actual mineral intake. 1 second. Because of course this is the natural intake line here. And that's because, wait, no, that's not right, hang on. No, pull that one up. Yes, there we go. And this is going, maybe I shouldn't be doing this at this point. There we go. That's not good to where it needs to. Merging with that. So that's flowing to both of them equally, which is also flowing into that. Then this is also flowing into the steel. I picked up all the steel, but look how much sheer nonsense I had lying around in terms of spare steel. So I'm not going to plug this one in because I've got so much steel just lying around. Not much point, honestly, in doing that. There we go. That's It's all running flat out. Building up my steel reserves. Okay, good. So steel's going. Next up on the to-do list was actually to get building production going because of how much in terms of buildings and things I've been getting and stuff like that. I mean, we're still running along here, honestly. We've not got all the way along. And a lot of these components are going into buildings, which is why I plan to use this quadrant here for manufacturing all the buildings and things. So, conveyor lines, sorters, drills, power plants, sorry, wind turbines. I'll produce solar as well, I need to do that. All that will be running on here, in this quadrant here, is my plan, because we don't honestly need much production, but what we need is the hookups to interplanetary transit and storage, and then connection to the raw components. So all that's the thing. See, this is as far as I got, producing the planetary thrusters, which then connect all the way down here to these guys, which is a slight misstep there, but oh well. Also, I'm going to be producing solar sails here as well, because I had a look a bit further on, and apparently I need those for some later components, so yeah, I'm going to need to produce those too in this area rather than in this separate bit. So that's the plan. And honestly, the Dyson Swarm has been without maintenance for quite a while, and as you can see, it's actually gone. That's how long I've been doing this. Laying it all out, connecting everything up, all that jazz. The oil refiners are still there because I just don't have time to do that right now. That'll have to be next episode. Same with the deuterium and fuel rods, the research, it's just all spilled over. But yeah, I've been at this so long, my Dyson Swarm has completely dissipated. It's all gone. Luckily, since the factory's not running, I don't actually need the power that it was providing me just yet. But that's going to change. That's going to change. Heck, I've not even put power poles in most of this yet. But yeah, anyway. Enough despair. It's time. I need to get my beauty sleep. Iron Mark III needs beauty sleep for beautifying the factory. That's how it goes. Plus, I notice I get a bit weirder when I'm a bit tired. So I know who's going to judge, but it is a thing. When I get tired, my filters tend to go down. So it's just like, yeah. Iron Mark III, thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. I just realised I need to edit this before I go to sleep. But yeah, see you all later. As I keep saying, sanity is overrated. Yay.